We do not advise or encourage you to run with bulls as it can result in injury or death. This video and any other best practices cannot ensure your safety while running with bulls. It benefits all runners that everyone on that run route knows what they're doing and respects the bulls.
No amount of studying will ever equate to actually having run with the bulls, but the more you can absorb before you run, the more you understand the dangers and the environment, the better chance you have of surviving. This video is your first step. The next step is meeting me here in Pamplona for a tour of the bull run. Make no mistake about it, the running of the bulls is very dangerous. Every day someone is injured and occasionally someone dies. Experienced runners do not take the run lightly. They get on the run route every morning, fully sober, with an understanding of what might happen. First, let's get a few things out of the way. Why does this even exist? When we talk about the running of the bulls, we're typically referring to the Fiesta de San Fermin in Pamplona. It's thought that San Fermin had his head cut off around 300 AD in France for talking about Jesus. The Fiesta de San Fermin is held in his honor.
Viva San Fermin! Hola San Fermin!
The fiesta occurs every year from noon on the 6th of July to midnight the night of the 14th. A small portion of that is the running of the bulls. That's the focus of this video. Evidence of the bull run goes back hundreds of years. Nowadays, there are thousands of bull-related events all over Spain, and dozens of towns have some form of a bull run, but internationally and nationally, Pamplona is the most famous of those bull runs. When you run with the bulls, there are a few things working against you. First, obviously, is the bull itself. This particular breed is known as el toro bravo, the brave bull. It's been bred for hundreds of years for particular qualities that we as humans value. The Spanish call it noble y bravo. Noble in the fact it's assured, it's collected, and bravo in the fact that it's completely fearless. The bull has a large neck muscle called the morillo, and at the end of that fulcrum are two massive horns, tipped at a menacing angle. The bulls are also very athletic. They run the half-mile route at a 4-minute mile pace, up 2 inclines, through 5 turns, and thousands of people. It gets crowded on that run route, and that crowd can pose a huge risk. People panic, they trip, people fall on top of each other. That can create a monton, or mountain of people. If you see crowds, try to stay away from them. There's no safety in numbers. There's no safe place on the route. If you want a safe place, get a balcony. The surface of the route changes several times along the route. Here it goes from asphalt to the adoquines. They're going to clean the streets every morning, but they never become bone dry. So that's going to limit your traction, especially if it rains. Nothing stops the bull run. Here on Santo Domingo, we also have curbs. Curbs are a clear trip hazard. Some first-time runners think that the bulls can't get up the curb. Good luck with that. Most of the boundaries along the run are the actual facades of the buildings. So there are limited places where you can get out. If you're thinking about getting off the run route, you need to do it before the bulls are released. Otherwise, stay on until the bulls have safely passed you. The best thing going for you on the bull run route is yourself. You want to trust in your own abilities to get out of the way if something bad happens. You don't want to get on the bull run route with a victim mentality, thinking you're going to stand in a doorway or a corner somewhere. You don't want to get cornered by a bull. Trust me. You want to trust in your own legs to keep you moving. You never want to stop for as long as the run's happening. There's nowhere safe along that run route, so stay vigilant and trust in yourself. The goal of an experienced runner is to run as long as they can directly in front of the horns of the bull. That's what we call running on the horns. You run in the direction of the bull run route, and you try not to impede or touch the animal in any way. Sometimes touching the animal is unavoidable, but it will make people angry, and more importantly, it could distract the bull, and that's really bad. The goal of a first-time runner is to not get injured. It's that simple. The basic idea is that you want to get up to speed just in time for the bulls to get to your position, and you want to continue moving down the route as the bulls pass you. No one runs the entire route. If you did, your legs would be so tired by the time the bulls got to you that you wouldn't be able to react if something bad happened. When you're a first-time runner, it's really hard to tell when the bulls are going to get to you. So be patient and then start running when you're completely freaked out.
It's good to start running in that crowd before the bulls get to you, and you don't want to be standing still when they arrive.
People wear a lot of things to run with the bulls, but there is one uniform that's most preferred by locals. And if you want to do it right, this is how you do it. Wear a white shirt and white pants or shorts. Also have good running shoes with decent traction. Don't carry anything that might slow you down. Carry a few bills so you can have a celebratory chocolate milk and cognac concoction after the run. And some form of identification would be good. That could be as simple as writing your name on a sheet of paper. The red neckerchief, which we call a pañuelo, needs to be in a slip knot so it doesn't catch a horn. Trust me, it happens. If you wear a sash, known as a faja, it should also be in a slip knot. No cameras. Don't bring a camera. The police will find your camera, charge you, and toss you off the route. People trying to record their own run are a danger to other runners because they get in the way and they make decisions that are not in the best interest of running. If you want pictures, head to the internet or one of the numerous photo shops in town. If you are anywhere near the bulls during the run, there will be photos. Each day, dozens of photographers take photos at all points along the route. Some runners carry a newspaper as a lure for the bull, not for hitting the bull. Don't hit the bull ever. Our friend Javier Solano says the newspaper is also an exhaust pipe for fear.
The running of the bulls is free for everybody. You don't have to sign up, you don't have to pay. You just have to be in the right place at the right time. That's between Town Hall, Ayuntamiento, and Santo Domingo by 7:30. Right before 8, the police will release you, and you can really start running anywhere along the run route you want. You can even run into the bull ring minutes before the bulls even arrive. But people will throw stuff at you. They call runners like this the valientes, the valiant ones. Don't be one of them. If you don't want to be near the bulls, get off the run route.
For 8 days from July 7th to the 14th at 8 a.m. on the dot, a rocket is lit at the small corral at the start of the run. When that rocket bursts in the air, you can hear it all along the run route. And 6 El Correbous, Spanish fighting bulls, and steers, known as cabestros or manzos, are released into the streets. The steers don't have menacing horns, but they can still be dangerous. The steers have led the bulls from pasture to pasture throughout their lives, and their presence can tend to temper the herd. Bulls can be any color. Typically, steers are tan and light brown. Go to the corrals before the run or check the morning newspaper to review the colors of the bulls on that day. A different herd of bulls is running each morning. When all the animals are out of the corral, a second rocket is ignited. There are additional rockets to signal the end of the run, but just assume as long as you're on that run route, you're not safe. There's a second set of steers. We call them the cleanup steers. They're going to come in behind the herd. Bulls can get separated along the route, and so the hope is when these steers come running through, the bull will hear the cowbell around their neck and it will be led to safety. Here's an overview of the route. It's somewhere around 850 meters long. The first section of the run is Santo Domingo. It's uphill for 280 meters. From there, the route briefly levels and widens in Town Hall Square. There are 2 slight left turns on the Calle Mercaderes, ultimately ending at La Curva, the famous curve at the start of Estafeta. Estafeta is the longest stretch of the run, and it briefly widens at the end before entering into Telefónicas, before briefly going downhill towards a small tunnel called the Callejon. The run ends on the sand of the bull ring, and as the bulls enter, dobledores, guys with capes, will try to lure the bulls from the entrance across to the corrals.
Calle Santo Domingo is the first portion of the route. It's called La Cuesta, or the slope. It's a prolonged incline, 280 meters or 306 yards. There are no humans at the very beginning of the route, and so the bulls can pick up speed, and they're running at their fastest. They're disproportionately faster than humans when running uphill. And so in Santo Domingo, more than any other portion along the route, a run is the process of being quickly overtaken by the bulls. We usually don't recommend first-time runners to run here. It's just so quick. Plus there are curbs. When you're running in a crowd, fearing for your life, your head's on a swivel, it's one more concern you don't want to have. At the end of Santo Domingo, we come to Ayuntamiento, Town Hall. It's a level section of the route. It's very quick. It typically takes the bulls about 40 seconds to get to this part of the route. There are 2 gradual turns, and there's no telling whether the bulls are going to go tight or wide into the turns, or tight then wide or wide then tight. That's true for the entire route. The bulls are unpredictable. This is Calle de los Mercaderes. It's the street of the merchants. It's another quick portion of the route, slightly downhill between Town Hall and La Curva, the famous curve.
For those that run Town Hall and Mercaderes on a clear day, the bright sun shining back from the end of Mercaderes can momentarily disorient you.
This is the famous curve, La Curva, or La Curva de Estafeta. Some rookies call it Dead Man's Corner, but no one's died here yet, so don't call it that. It's obnoxious.
The bulls don't always see the turn coming, and sometimes they have too much momentum going into the turn. In recent years, they've treated the stones to give the bulls more traction. But first-timers think it's safe to stand on the inside of Estafeta. The problem is when a lone bull rounds that corner, it'll go directly after those people, and they're in a crowd and they have nowhere to go. You want to keep your space and run. Not here. Don't run La Curva. It's technical, it's tricky, and on your first time, you're just getting in the way and making it more dangerous for everyone. When the bulls pass through La Curva, a door equal to the width of the street will swing shut. This ensures that a bull, if it gets turned around, is limited to how far back down the route it can go.
Calle Estafeta is the longest portion along the run route. A lot of first-time runners will opt to run here, and for good reason.
The bulls have a long way to run to get here, and they begin to run at a slightly slower pace. Experienced runners can stay on the horns longer. Estafeta is generally straight. In recent years, there's been a cable camera over the route that tracks over the lead animal, and this creates a good visual to cue runners for when the bulls approach. The last bit of Estafeta widens significantly, but this doesn't make it safer. Runners, freaked out by the crowds, who don't know when the bulls might arrive, congest at the end of the route.
Telefónicas is where things really start to get tricky. It's a wide, congested part of the route.
The latter portion of it narrows quickly as you approach the tunnel, and there's a bad history of mountains of people piling on top of each other, one falling over another.
The trickiest part of the run route is the Callejon. It's through this red door. It's a narrow passageway that leads onto the sand of the bull ring.
The bull ring is covered in sand, so the transition from stone can be difficult for runners. The run ends on the sand of the bull ring. Never assume you're safe in the bull ring. When the bulls enter the ring, you can never be certain if they're going to run around and create more havoc. As you enter, you got to decide whether you're going to go left or right, but keep your head on a swivel and stay vigilant. The hope is that the men with capes, the dobledores, will lead the bull directly down the center of the bull ring to the corrals at the opposite end. Once the bulls are corralled, that's it.
In order to make the run happen every morning, it really does take a village. There's a number of people that really make it happen. First are the street cleaners. Fiesta is filthy, and they have to clean the route every morning to make it safe. The mayor will come through and inspect the route before the run begins. The second group are the guys that put up the barriers, the vallados along the route. These are taken down right after the run, and really the best indication that a run is over is when they start to take down these barriers. Most importantly, there are the pastores. These guys wear a green polo shirt and they carry a long stick. They trade off along the route, so they only have one section, just like the runners. Their goal is to help the bulls down the route, and if you touch a bull or distract it in any way, you will get hit by their stick. They're there to protect the herd and make sure the run happens as quickly and as cleanly as possible. One of the most critical groups along the run route are the medics. You're going to need them if you get injured. Everywhere that there's a vallado, one of the wooden barriers along the route, there's a number of medics that are waiting to treat you. And I can tell you, even if you just get a scratch, these streets are filthy, so go to them and have them clean it out. If the medics take your name, age, and country of origin, there's now an official record that you ran with the bulls, so no one can ever question that. There's a no man's land between the first vallado and the second vallado, where you can only have police, a select number of photographers, and medics. This ensures that if you need to get off the route, you can, but don't expect them to let you off the route if the bulls are inbound. You can be a danger to other runners if you're trying to fit through the barrier as the bulls approach. So once the bulls are released, again, keep moving down the route and commit to the run. Before the run, in deference to San Fermin, and to ask for his protection during the run, a group of runners will meet under a statue of the saint along the run route.
The bulls are very athletic and they're running at a full sprint. If you were running at a full sprint and someone fell directly in front of you, the only thing you could do without any warning would be to try to jump over the person. You couldn't magically detour around them. It's the same thing with the bulls. If someone stands up in front of a bull, the only option the bull has is to lower its head and put a horn through that person. So if you fall down, you stay down. You protect your head and you wait until a runner comes and helps you up. That being said, if a bull is by itself and it's stopped moving down the route, get up, get the hell out of there. This is the most dangerous thing that can happen along the run. We call it a suelto, a lone bull. We expect the bulls to stay in their herd for the majority of the run, but every once in a while a bull can fall, or runners can get between a bull and the rest of its herd, and it gets disoriented. It seeks to establish its territory, and it does that by going after people. This is very dangerous, and there's a tendency for first-time runners to want to watch this. But you're really just crowding the route. For this reason, they recommend that you don't run behind the bulls. The fewer people that are on either side of the bull, the easier it is for people to direct the bull up the street. Leave it to the pastores to do their job and get the bull up the street. If you see a lone bull, get out of there. Just run. It's not safe and you're gonna get injured. Okay, so I told you not to get injured on your first run, but what does that even look like? Down the center of the route, you're gonna have runners that are running on the horns, people that are running at full sprint, and that's not you the first time you run. But you also don't wanna be those people that are standing along the sides of the route, because that's equally dangerous. You really wanna be somewhere right in between, where you can continue to run down the route, you can keep your head on a swivel, but allow the bulls to safely overtake you as they move down the route. If you run onto the sand at the end of the run, it's actually not over yet. Once the bulls are corralled, they release 6 small cows, vaquillas, into the ring. They have capped horns, they're very agile. They can't gore you, but they can injure you. There's no glory in getting injured by a vaquilla. Plus, you've already survived the running of the bulls with real bulls. So I recommend you go up in the stands first and watch it for a couple of the vaquilla before you decide to participate. Don't be stupid, and remember, you've already survived the running of the bulls. There are minor changes to run every year, so do your research or talk to me before you run. And while you're in Pamplona, take some time to celebrate and enjoy fiesta. Immediately after the run, a lot of the foreign runners will go to Bar Choco on Plaza de Castillo to get a milk and cognac. The debate is whether it's better with chocolate milk or vanilla milk. On the run, above all else, be safe and good luck. Or as the runners say in the morning before the run, suerte.
Please like, comment, and ask your questions below. For more information, see the description. And for a more in-depth look at bull running, check out our film Chasing Red at chasingredmovie.com.